It's not cool if they did that, but. Miss Lacy and Mr. Keithley,
Yes, Your Honor.
okay, my understanding is that we have your client en route. Are you saying you no longer need her?
At this point, having discussed the matter with Ms. Lacy, it doesn't appear that we really have an offer at this time. What she and I had discussed prior to my leaving the courthouse this morning was essentially hoping to get to an offer by next week, for which we were already set, and as I understand it, would already have a writ. Of course, they're bringing Ms. Montalvo-Villasenor over at this point. However, having discussed with Ms. Lacy, my understanding is she wants some time to talk with her unit chief before actually extending an offer in these matters.
Okay, so my last note that she was being screened for sobriety court, that's not happening anymore?
That is not happening anymore, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, well, we just told the police department that that we no longer needed her, so they're gonna return her back to Eaton County.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. On the record in the matter of Autumn Ridge Townhome versus Lakia Lee, file number 21-00861 LTE, council appearance.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sam Dua, P612449, attorney of record for Autumn Ridge Townhomes.
Good morning, Your Honor. Christina Corcoran appearing on behalf of Ms. Leaks, along with my law clerk, Chris Simmernick, who will be asking the court permission to appear.
This is, a motion to withdraw as counsel. I'm assuming this is going to be similar to your previous motion, Mr. Dua.
I'm sorry, one more time, Your Honor. I had trouble hearing you.
This is a motion to withdraw as counsel, and I'm assuming this is going to be similar to your previous motion. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct, Your Honor. It is the same plaintiff, different defendant, exact same set of circumstances as stated on the record Monday.
Okay. Is there an objection from the defense?
No objection, Your Honor. We just asked that the court request the plaintiff seek alternate counsel within 2 weeks, given that we do have a trial on March 9th, I believe.
Yeah, I think you were supposed to request permission first to appear.
My apologies, Your Honor.
No problem.
Christopher Semernick from Legal Services requesting permission to appear in front of the court.
Thank you. Permission is granted, and the court will grant your request. I will sign the order for Mr. Dua to withdraw, and consistent with the last case, I'll note that they need to file a new appearance from the new attorney within 14 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The additional matters for the record?
Nothing further.
Nothing for defendant. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. You're all set.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Same to you. All right, trial date? For the leak matter? Oh, yeah, it's March 9th. There we go. Thank you. Okay, we're ready on Mr. Ball.
Yes, Your Honor.
And we're on the record in the matters of the people of the state of Michigan versus William Ball, file numbers 21-02692 and 21-02869. Council appearance.
Morning, Your Honor. Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Adam Pfeiffer for the people.
May it please the court, David B. Carter Jr. on behalf of William Ball, who is present and sitting at council table.
I was trying to understand why the second file is set for preliminary examination.
Your Honor, Andrea Lacey appearing on behalf of the people on file number 21-2869. My understanding from my conversations with APA Housefield that it was set on the prelim date so they could be handled together, but it is in fact a misdemeanor case.
Okay, thank you. It definitely says prelim. Got it. So we only have one prelim on Ball. That's going to be a pretrial. Or what's going to happen on the other one? Was there an offer on that?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Carter, on the misdemeanor, how do you want to handle that at this time? Do you want to set it for a final pretrial or?
That would be fine, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll get you a final pretrial and jury trial date after we complete this. And as to the preliminary examination, are we ready to proceed or do we have preliminary matters we need to address?
Preliminary matters, Your Honor. First and foremost, the people are prepared to speak today. Officer Mangrum is waiting in the jury room ready to testify. He will also be seeking a continuance at the end of the examination to have Officer Slobin as well as Detective McBride here and testify further in this matter. I also want to place the offer on the record and the intention for people to request additional charges at the end of the examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. We would obviously object to any continuance. This thing has been dragged on for quite some time. I believe the prosecutor had ample amount of time to get its witnesses here, so we would be opposed to a continuance.
Why weren't the other officers here today?
Your Honor, it was initially believed that Officer Mangrum would be sufficient as well as the victim. The victim is not here. Officer Slobin can make ID in this matter as he also responded to the scene. And I would request a continuance for him. As for Detective McBride, that's because the people will be seeking to add witness interference charges. As I discovered yesterday, the victim's phone number that is listed in the police report that has been provided to defense counsel has been called 239 times from the Ingham County Jail, many of which, the vast majority of which, were done under the account of William Ball.
Well, Your Honor, I'd like to make a clarification here. He indicated that he just found out yesterday. That's not quite true. Maybe the amount of calls he found out that they've been added. However, the prosecutor has known about that for quite some time. Before this case was adjourned the last time, that exact same offer was given indicating they were going to seek charges for witness tampering. So I don't believe that that's a sufficient reason why this officer isn't here. Back then, they intended to ask for additional charges. So this isn't a surprise thing that just found out yesterday.
That is accurate. There was a discussion about a call log back in December.
Your Honor, if I may clarify,
Yes.
it was not people's intention to add witness interference before. It was people's intention as in the email I have in front of me, to add interfering with a crime report, committing a crime, or threatening to kill or injure, based on the facts of the police report. The calls that were brought to the attention before for bond purposes were from the Ingham County lockup, where there are no names attached. These calls are from the Ingham County Correctional Facility that do include William Ball's name attached to them.
Oh,
I'm quite sure
And I
that
will also note this is the people's first request for an adjournment.
now this is, I'm refreshing my recollection, because this was the defendant that was in Wayne County and released and never brought here. That's correct.
That is correct, Your Honor. And then the defendant failed to appear. We were then set for a preliminary examination last month, but there was a COVID issue with the court, and so it was adjourned.
That's correct. Okay, so the witness that we have here today is whom again?
Officer Troy Mangrum, Your Honor.
Okay. And then slogan is for identification,
Yes, Your Honor.
and the other officer is because of the
Detail
added
calls, Your Honor.
receipt to count for witness interference. I'm going to grant his request for a continuance with the information provided to the court that there's been well over 200 phone calls to an individual that this defendant was told not to have any communication directly or indirectly with.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, according to the prosecutor, he is only going to call one witness, so I would normally ask for a sequester of witnesses. I just want to make sure that if an officer appears, that it's really the case of that.
Okay,
My second request is that my client is right-handed. He is in cuffs. I ask that his right hand be released from cuffs so that he can communicate with me. I think it would much make for a smoother preliminary exam than him trying to whisper in my ear or
that's fine.
thing.
And the sequestration order will be granted. You can call your first witness.
Your Honor, if I could first put the record, or any offer on the record.
Okay, absolutely.
Thank you.
On the record, I want to apologize to the prosecutor. Looking over my notes, he is correct. It was a threatening charge he was, and not a.
Yeah, I
intimidating.
remember that
And I
as
do
well.
apologize to him. That threw me off.
No problem.
I was trying to go by recollection.
No problem.
Your Honor, the defendant is charged with a count of unlawful imprisonment, assault by strangulation, felonious assault, firearm possession by a felon, and domestic violence. At the end of the examination, the people intend to request an added count 6, interfering with a crime report, committing a crime, or threatening to kill or injure another individual under MCL 750.483, subsection A to B, and a request of count 7, witness interference in a criminal case punishable by more than 10 years under MCL 750.122, subsection 7B. These are each 10-year felonies that are discretionary consecutive with each other count. The offer that was given was for the defendant to plead count 2, assault by strangulation, count 3, felonious assault, and count 5, domestic violence. There would be a Kilgore agreement where we would agree not to pursue any witness interference charges for contacts made prior to the plea. That offer expires at the preliminary examination today, and I'd like to confirm that that offer is being rejected.
Thank you, Your Honor. I did meet with my client and actually provided him with a written letter outlining that plea offer. And at that time, he had rejected that plea offer, and I inquired of my client if he wishes to continue to reject that.
Please do.
Say yes. Do you, Mr. Paul, do you want to reject that plea offer?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That offer is rejected. You can call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people will call Troy Mangrum.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. Here. And can you please state your first and last name and spell them both?
First name's Troy, Troy, last name is Mangrum, Mangre.
Thank you, Doctor, to proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Mangrum, where are you currently employed?
Lansing Police Department.
And what is your role there?
I'm an officer. Patrol.
Officer Mangrum, how long have you been employed there?
5 months.
Were you working in that capacity on 9/24 of last year?
I was.
And on that date, you happened to be sent out to 2124 Rio Road?
I was.
That in Lansing? Is
It is.
that in Ingham County?
Yes, sir.
What were you sent out there in regards to?
I was sent out there in regards to a fight call.
And what did you observe when you first arrived?
When we arrived, there was a white female and a black male that were entering into that house at the aforementioned address.
And did you later identify that white female?
I did.
And was that Alyssa DeBoer?
Yes, sir.
I apologize because I'm probably mispronouncing that last name. But
I'm not sure.
Alyssa DeBoer is the one that you spoke with?
Correct.
Now, did you happen to come back to that residence later?
I did.
And what was that in regards to?
That was in regards to an assault call.
To make contact with Ms. DeBoer again?
I did.
Now, Your Honor, I will be seeking to elicit hearsay from this officer in order to establish foundation to proceed under MCL 768.27C.
Is there an objection?
Well, first, I want to hear the foundation when he lays it. I don't know if I can necessarily object yet.
I agree that there needs to be some more foundation laid before you can elicit that testimony, but you can proceed to lay the foundation.
Thank you, Your Honor. So you spoke with Ms. DeBoer?
I did.
And what did she tell you had happened in very broad terms?
Now, was this the first contact or the second contact?
The second contact, please.
The second contact, she informed me that she had been in a physical altercation.
Okay, I'd have to object. I need foundation. You just can't get into the allegation without addressing what the statute provides in order to get that
That's
information.
correct.
I'm seeking to lay that foundation by establishing that there was an assault in a domestic relationship.
Okay, well, we need to just ask those kinds of questions. We can't let him proceed to tell what he was told by the alleged victim, and that's what his response was giving.
Yes, Your Honor, that is the hearsay I'm seeking to elicit to lay the foundation, that she informed him about those aspects of 27C. I'm not seeking to introduce at this moment the truth of the matter asserted, but as foundation for 27C, Your Honor.
There's a way to lay this foundation without asking him to give the hearsay to lay the foundation. Is what I'm saying. We have to establish that they were in a dating relationship. We have to establish that there was a
Yes, Your Honor. And
report of an assault.
we
we have
do
to
that would be
establish-
the person who reported it, which is her.
That is correct, but he's telling her what, he's telling us now in his response, what she told him. That's not, the objection's gonna be sustained because there's a way to lay the foundation before you can elicit that kind of testimony.
Understood, Your Honor. Upon your investigation, did you determine that an assault had taken place?
I did.
You determined the nature of the assault?
I was a physical assault.
You determined whether it was domestic in nature?
It was.
And what was that determination?
She hit, I'm
That
sorry,
it was domestic in nature?
it was, yeah.
Did you determine how recently in time it had taken place?
Within the last 15 minutes of us being, or, yeah, from the first contact.
And did you personally observe anything that would corroborate what she was telling you?
Yes, she had marks on her neck and her face.
Thank you.
Red marks, excuse me.
And were you acting in your capacity as a police officer at that moment?
I was.
Your Honor, I believe sufficient foundation has been laid under MCL 768.27C.
I would still object. I don't believe that we have any foundation regarding the trustworthiness of the statement. And that's one of the key elements of that statute.
I'll answer that question or inquire.
These marks that you say you observed on her, do they match this? Do they match what you were told?
They do.
Thank you. I believe that's sufficient for corroboration for subsection D of MCL 768.27C, the trustworthiness.
Are you continuing your objection?
I am.
Okay, the objection's overruled. You can continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the second time you went out there, what did Alyssa tell you had taken place?
Alyssa had informed me that there had been a physical altercation between her and her male friend that was there at the time.
Did she give you the name of that friend?
She did.
And what was the name given?
William Ball.
And she said she was in a dating relationship with him?
Correct.
So what details did she give you about this physical altercation?
That her and Mr. Ball had been arguing. She was struck in the face multiple times with the door by Mr. Ball. She was punched in the face by Mr. Ball with a closed fist. She was strangled with both hands by Mr. Ball in the living room and then thrown on the floor in the kitchen.
Now, as to the strangulation, she said that both hands were on her neck.
Both hands were on her neck.
Did she indicate any difficulty in breathing or lack of consciousness?
She did. She told me that she had difficulty breathing and that she had seen spots and started blacking out.
And you observed red marks to her chest and her neck?
Correct.
So she told you that he had strangled her. What did she say had happened next?
As far as the physical altercation,
Yes.
so she was punched in the head and then thrown into the kitchen after the strangulation.
Did she say anything about trying to get away from this situation?
She did. She said she had tried to leave and she was restricted from doing so.
And who restricted her?
Mr. Ball,
Did you say how he restricted her?
I pushed her down, prevented her from leaving. In addition to that, he had an AR style rifle that prevented her from leaving.
Can you please tell me more about that? Is that for the, is the air rifle come into play before the first time you went out there, before the second time you went out there?
Before the second time. It was during our first interaction with her.
So the AR rifle was in play when you arrived the first
The
time.
first time, yes, sir.
Can you tell me more about what she described in that incident?
Yes, so when we showed up on scene, she was sweaty, had been crying, was visibly shaken. And we asked if she needed any assistance. She said that the fight was over, that she didn't need our assistance. We could tell that there was obviously some issues there and she wanted to talk to us, but it seemed like that she couldn't. Upon our second visit is when she described the fact that Mr. Ball had an AR style rifle pointed at her on the other side of the door. They explained to her that if she had mentioned anything that he would kill her. Mr. Ball would kill her.
So while you were there at the doorway speaking with the victim, she's telling you that the defendant had a rifle pointed at her, threatening to kill her.
Correct, on her second visit. She elaborated on her second visit that our first visit, he was there.
Thank you. And the rifle was pointed at her during the first visit.
Correct.
Did she describe any damage to property there during this incident?
She did.
And what did she tell you happened?
That Mr. Ball had broken out one of her windows in her home using a pumpkin.
And did you observe any damaged window?
I did. On her house, there was a shattered window.
Did you observe anything else that seemed to corroborate those statements?
Yes, there was a pumpkin in her sidewalk that had slice marks on it.
Your Honor, I'd like to approach the witness with what's been marked. 3 photos have been marked as people or as exhibits 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Officer Mangrum, could you please describe what I just handed to you?
Photos that I took on scene.
And you recognize them as photos from that incident?
Correct.
And do they appear to accurately reflect the situation there?
Yes.
And could you please describe to the court what is marked as people exhibit 1?
That is a picture of Alyssa and the red marks on her face.
And people's exhibit 2?
Is the shattered window at Alyssa's residence.
And people's exhibit 3?
The pumpkin that was found at Alyssa's residence.
Thank you. Your Honor, I would seek to admit these exhibits as people's exhibits 1, 2, and 3.
If I may, voir dire, please. Detective, is it detective or
Officer.
officer?
Yes, sir.
Officer
Mangrum.
Mangrum.
Yes, sir.
All right. My name is David Carter. I represent Mr. Ball in this matter. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. If there's a question you don't understand, please let me know and I'll try to rephrase that. Fair enough?
Sir.
It's important that you only answer questions that you absolutely understand what the question's all about, okay?
Sure.
I really want to concentrate on exhibit 1. Do you have exhibit 1 in your hand?
I do.
All right. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of what you saw?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this photo is exactly what you saw on Miss DeBoer, correct?
Yes,
Of
sir.
her, correct? You didn't tamper with the photo at all. There's been nothing done to it. It was exactly how she looked, and this is a fair recollection, of it, correct?
Upon my return visit the second time, yes, sir.
All right. Now, can you explain why there is, it appears to be on her cheek side, her left cheek side, a red mark, correct?
Correct.
And that red mark continuously goes into her hair, correct? Right
As
on that photo, right?
far as I could see from the photo, yes.
Okay. And it's just, it looks like one straight line, correct?
Yes.
And that's how you saw her?
On my return visit, yes, sir.
Okay. Can you explain what those red marks are in her hair?
I do not know.
Thank you. I have no objections. Jan.
Exhibits, people's exhibits 1, 2, and 3 are admitted.
Thank you. And I would seek to publish them to the court, Your Honor.
Okay.
If I may, approach.
Yes. Thank you.
Officer Mangrum, in questioning just now, you said that you observed the redness in those photographs on the second visit. Are you
Correct.
saying that that was not present when you spoke to her the first visit?
She did have some red markings on her neck, but they weren't as apparent until we got there on the second visit.
And about how far apart in time were these 2 visits?
Maybe 10 or 15 minutes.
Now, was the William Ball who assaulted her still at the scene?
No, sir.
Did she tell you where he had gone?
No, she didn't know where he had left.
But she knew that he wasn't there anymore.
She knew that he was no longer on property. Correct.
Did she give any description of William Ball other than his name?
She told me that he was a black male. She didn't give much description.
Did she give any information as to his potential age or date of birth?
Said that he was in his 30s.
Do you remember if she gave you any information about what time of the year he may have been born?
I don't recall.
Would looking at a copy of your police report help refresh your recollection?
It would.
Your Honor, if I could approach the victim with a copy of his police report.
Okay.
Officer Mangrum, I don't want you to read from the report or out loud. I'd like you to read it until it is sufficiently refreshed your recollection and let me know when you were done.
Oh, yeah. I'm done.
Thank you. Now, Officer Mangrum, was that able to refresh your recollection?
It was.
And do you remember now what the victim told you?
Yes.
And what did she tell you about Mr. Ball?
She had informed me that Mr. Ball was an Aquarius.
Did she give you anything about the time of the year that he may have been born in?
No, I don't recall.
Thank you very much. People have no further questions at this time, Your Honor.
One moment. Officer Mangrum, again, I introduced myself as David Carter representing William Ball. What I'm going to try to do is follow the same line of questioning that the prosecutor did, just so that you can get your mind in gear to how I'm going to follow. Okay. I may jump around. I apologize for that. You indicated that you got a call to the house, the first call because of a fight, correct?
Correct.
Was there anything about your call about the fight that you can distinctively remember?
I guess I don't understand the question.
Okay, did they describe what was going on, or was it, hey,
Oh.
just a fight call? I mean,
So the caller had described that they had heard two people arguing.
okay. And so you went out there to do basically a wellness check or to check on what was going on, correct?
Correct.
All right. And do you recall the time that you went out there that first time?
I do not recall.
And you ended up going out there, did you go out with another partner?
I did, yes.
And who was that?
Officer Alex Loban.
Alex Slobin?
Sir,
That's the officer who's not here today, but plans on coming another day, correct?
my understanding.
All right. Now, this officer, who initially made contact? You or this other officer?
We both made contact at almost the same time.
Okay, knocked on the door.
Mhm.
She
Yeah,
answered the
yes.
door?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's important to
Yes,
use
sir.
yeses and nos, okay? And when she answered the door, can you tell me, describe how she answered the door? Is there a screen door, a storm door?
I don't believe that there was an exterior door, a screen or a storm door prior to the main door.
Okay, and does the door swing into the house?
Yes, sir.
And how did she position her body?
She was standing in the doorway.
In the doorway? Did she stand, was she halfway, was the door blocking her at all?
No, sir.
So her full body in the door,
Yes, sir.
was she standing more behind the door as it flung open or inside the door as it was open?
She was in the door frame, so
Okay, so she's actually in the door frame.
just about, yes.
Can you see inside the house at that time?
I can see to the left of Alyssa into what would be her living room of the house.
Okay, so you could see into the left, so I'm assuming the door swings open to the right.
Correct,
And so you could see into the living room, you said?
correct.
Could you see anything further down that way?
There was an opening into the kitchen, but I couldn't see anything beyond that.
Okay, and can you describe the house as it is to the left? Can you tell if there's rooms
You
on
mean
that?
to the
side?
right or to the left, sir? 'Cause I
I'm
could see
sorry, to the
left.
right, to the right.
Okay, to the right, at the initial point of contact, I couldn't see anything to the right because
And-
the door was blocking that.
And I can appreciate that, but when I walk up to a house, I can tell whether the front door, if there's really just a wall a few feet away and that's it. Could you tell, is the house extended? Could there be bedrooms?
There was
To the-
a portion of the
to the
house to the
right.
right, so my assumption at the time was that there was more space on that side of the door.
And do you know how much space?
It appeared to be enough room for a room.
Okay, a full room?
I'm not a contractor, so I guess I don't know how to answer
Okay.
that question.
Okay, is it more than 4 feet?
Yes, sir.
More than 10 feet?
Not entirely sure.
Okay. And could you tell if this door actually swings into a living room?
So the living room was to the left. Are you talking to the right or to the left?
No, if you open up the door, could you tell whether you walked right into a living room?
It appeared to be, yes.
All right. How deep was this house? Would it be, is there enough room for another room behind the living room?
I hadn't walked around the house, my initial point of contact, so I was unsure.
Sure, but when you pulled up to the house, could you tell? I mean, you're an officer, you want to make those distinctions, right? Just in
Correct.
case there's a dangerous situation. So
Understand.
how deep was the house? Do you think there could be a room behind the living room?
Potentially, yes.
Okay. And you indicated that she said there was a fight, there's an argument, nothing's, it's all resolved, correct?
Correct.
And did you ask to speak to the black male that was in the house?
I did.
And was that refused? How did that go down?
I was told again by Alyssa that the fight had been over and there was no need to have the discussion with her.
And that was it? You were satisfied with that answer?
Well, we can't force ourselves inside the house, so yes.
And I understand that, but you were satisfied. That's all you did. Did you encourage her to talk to him? I mean, was it just a?
We asked multiple times and we were given an answer of no each time.
When was the second time you came out to that house?
About 10 or 15 minutes after the first call.
And it was at that time she divulged to you that that Mr. Ball was in the house in a bedroom with a gun?
Correct.
And she didn't say whether the bedroom door was open, correct?
Correct.
You don't know if he was actually pointing a gun at her, correct?
I didn't physically see it. So
Did that make sense that he was in a bedroom pointing a gun at her while she was at the door?
that was her statement to me. So at the time, yes.
But the way you positioned, the way you saw how the scenery set out, did that make sense?
Again, I didn't know what was to the right of the door.
All right. Well, when you came in there the second time, actually you went into that house, didn't you?
Correct.
Okay, so now you can describe what the house looked like. Was there a bedroom beyond the living room?
There was.
Okay. And was there a door to it?
There was.
And how close was that bedroom door to the front door of the house?
Within a few feet.
The bedroom door was a few feet from the home door?
The main entrance of the home, yes, sir. I'd say less than 6 feet.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I
Few-
apologize.
a few feet.
Wanted to qualify.
All right, thank you. About 6 feet.
Approximately.
Did she indicate to you whether or not Mr. Ball was staying at that house? Living there?
I don't recall.
Okay. You know, did she give you an address where he lived?
She gave multiple addresses where he might possibly be staying, but she
Okay.
didn't specify live.
Did she talk to you about their relationship?
She did.
Did they say they had broken up?
I don't recall.
Well, what did she talk to you about your relationship about?
She said that they had been in a dating relationship
Did they,
for some time.
was it a past tense or was it current tense?
I don't recall.
When you took this photo, was this on the second visit, third visit?
Well, there was no third visit, for me at least.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't on the third visit. That was the
Alright.
second visit.
If the record can reflect that defense counsel held up People's Exhibit 1.
Thank you. All of the photos were actually taken on that second visit, correct?
Correct.
And you were the photographer for those.
Correct.
Did you walk through the property when you were there the second visit?
Yeah.
Entered in each room?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a basement in the house?
No, sir.
How many rooms are in the house?
There's a kitchen, living room, and a bedroom. There's a spiral staircase that led upstairs, and we didn't venture upstairs.
You didn't?
No, sir.
You didn't secure the residence?
No, sir.
She also mentioned a Mitch, correct?
She did.
Did you ever get Mitch's more information besides the name Mitch?
No, sir.
She said that was a witness, right?
She did.
And he could testify, well, he was a witness to this whole act,
According
correct?
to Alyssa, yes, sir.
All right. Do you have body cams?
I do.
Was the body cams on?
They were.
Your Honor, I request that the prosecutor turn over those body cams. As of today, I don't have body cams.
Maybe the prosecutor doesn't have them, they can submit your discovery request. Court
Is
doesn't
there a
have them.
possibility you can get those body cams to me, please? Do you know if your partner has a body cam?
Yes.
Was that on also?
To my knowledge, yes.
And yours was on?
Yes,
I don't
sir.
know if I asked that. You took a picture of the pumpkin, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you look to see at the window if there was any pumpkin residue on the broken window?
I did not.
So really, you just took her word for it that that's how the window broke, correct?
That and basic observation.
Okay,
It
well,
appeared,
I'm sorry.
it appeared to me that that is what had happened, so.
And why did it appear to you that that was?
The first time we were there, the pumpkin was not out of place, it was sitting on the step. When we returned the second time, the pumpkin was out of place and the window was broken. So I
Very
made
well.
my observation.
Thank you. I get an exhibit sticker.
I'm gonna go off the record for a minute.
I approach the witness.
I went off the record.
I'm sorry.
Someone joined my waiting room, but they're not on my docket, so they're not starting their camera, so I'm gonna remove them. Okay, we're back on the record. You can approach.
Thank you. Officer, I'm gonna hand you what is marked as defendant's proposed exhibit A. Did you take that picture?
I did.
And again, you only took pictures on the second call, correct?
No.
Oh, you took pictures when up? When did you take pictures?
I guess, yes, I did take pictures in the second call. I apologize.
Well, what caused you pause there?
My recollection of that this evening when I took the photos, I guess was distorted. I don't recall.
Okay. Do you have all the exhibits up there?
I have
I have the other.
just A,
exhibit.
B.
Now, is that a fair and accurate depiction of the picture you took that night?
Yes, sir.
I'd ask for the admission of defendant proposed exhibit A.
Any objection?
Not from the people, Your Honor.
Okay, defense exhibit A is admitted.
Officer, can you tell the court why those pictures look so different where the face on defendant's exhibit A doesn't show any red markings or red into the hair line, but yet people's exhibit 1 does.
I don't know why they're different.
But it's your testimony that both of them are accurately reflects what you saw.
Correct.
And you can't explain why that's a big difference.
No, but
All right, I'd like to publish the defense exhibit.
Yeah.
May I approach?
Thank you.
I have nothing further.
No additional questions, Your Honor.
Is this what this keeps?
You may, Your Honor.
Thank you, Officer Randy. You may be excused.
Thank you.
As previously indicated, the court is granting the request for a continuance on this. Also sounds like the defense counsel is seeking some additional discovery by way of body cam video that prosecution said that they will get turned over to you.
I can update the court as to that matter. Our office is not in possession of any body camera footage. I will be requesting it when I get back to my office today.
I assume that it probably
And I appreciate it.
required a request from the police department, which the defense attorney could have requested themselves as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, and so is this, I would imagine you would want to review this before we continue. with
I would,
the-
Your Honor.
Okay. So that may require a couple of weeks, because I don't know how quickly they're providing body cam.
Not as quickly as I'd like, Your Honor.
Yeah, I don't know the time frame on around.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming back. So I'm gonna give it a couple weeks. So does March 17th work?
Should work for me, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that date.
March 17th?
I'm in trial in Shiawassee County. Front of the student.
The 25th? The 25th?
I'm sorry, you have such a soft voice. I'm
She
sorry.
does. The 25th,
Yes, that would work.
okay. I would,
Work for the people.
8:30?
That's fine.
Okay, we'll continue this till March 25th at 8:30. Any additional matters for the record?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Not from the people, Your Honor.
Oh, we need to give you a final pretrial and a jury trial on the other matter. Okay, so for final pretrial, March 22nd work,
I'm in trial, Your Honor.
okay. Final pretrial for March 29th work,
Yeah, well, in the morning it does.
yeah, it'll be at 8 o'clock in the morning. And we can do April 5th. April 5th for trial work,
So it's April 5th.
I'm in trial in front of Judge Cannon at CSC first.
it's in trial that, April 5th, so we got to do another trial. No, I said the 12th. The 12th, April 12th. I know Kennedy's trying out some trial before
I'm in a homicide trial in Eaton County,
No problem.
starting on the 11th.
No problem. How about you tell us when you're not in
Right.
trial on a Tuesday?
26th of April.
Well, I won't be here on April 26th. Okay. We're into May. May
May 3rd.
No, she's not here. I'm not.
Okay.
So the 10th.
I have stuff that can be moved. That goes.
May 10th.
I will get those dates to APA Lacey.
Thank you.
And is that it? Oh, it's a trial.
The jury trial, yep, May 10th at 8 a.m. The final pre-trial could be via Zoom.
Thank you.
Other than that, we're all set for today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Where are your exhibits back? Or do you want me to just add them to the file?
Since it's continuing, I think adding to the file probably be
That would
safer.
be fine.
Did I get it 29? For the final, you did. Okay, I see a Darius Lowry.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm present.
Okay. I'm trying to understand what matter you're here on because I don't have anything indicated on my docket that will require your appearance today.
I was notified by my lawyer's office and I was given this meeting ID.
Okay, who is your lawyer?
Dustin Kuntz.
Can you start your video, please?
Yes, give me I thought okay, there we go.
Is Mr. Kuhn supposed to be logging in today?
The only information I was given was I was given a text message about the court date, the meeting time, and I was given the Zoom ID to log in with.
Okay. Do you have a case number?
Not on me.
You said there's nothing. Do you know what the charge is for?
Yes, domestic violence, assault with intent to do bodily harm, and assault with intent to murder.
Okay, that matter was bound over to circuit court.
Okay.
You don't have a case here anymore. Your next court date's in circuit court, sir.
I understand. I was probably given the wrong meeting ID. Then I'll get in contact
Yeah,
with my
that's-
attorney.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. for the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Leah Nicole Nalon, phone numbers 21-02817 FT. Council appearance.
Good morning, Your Honor. Andrea Lacy appearing on behalf of the people.
And Charles Petrovich on behalf of Ms. Nealon.
Thank you. Today's the date that's scheduled for a preliminary examination. Are we ready to proceed?
Your Honor, I actually have just been brought to my attention that the witness who is needed for identification of the defendant is actually not present, was not subpoenaed for today's hearing. There is another officer here where we can start the exam, and I would ask for continuation. But that is what I'm dealing with right now.
Who's the officer that's here today?
Officer James Volnine.
So is it Orbis that needs to be?
Correct.
Is he still frozen into his house or?
Mr. Petrovich let me know that he did see him this morning. I did not see him this morning, but apparently he was here at some point this morning. So
But
no,
not
but he was
subpoenaed
not
on this
subpoenaed.
matter, right?
Correct.
Mr. Petrovich.
Yes, Your Honor, I certainly understand the request, but as has been stated, Mr. Corwus was here this morning. I saw him, I spoke to him. And I questioned the need for continuation rather than getting him back here to effectively drag this level more than it already has been. There are certainly some delays in the defense that can be attributable to the defense for obtaining counsel in that situation. But this case has been pending for some time. Considering the fact that I believe it was less than an hour ago, I saw Mr. Corpus in the building, whether the continuation would actually be necessary.
Do you think that someone I could call him?
Your Honor, it does appear that he is gone for the weekend. Like he is on his way 2 hours up north. So I don't think that he's going to be able to come back.
The only thing we could do is make an effort, but again, he wasn't subpoenaed to be here for this purpose. So I'll grant a continuation for the testimony or identification given for testimony from Officer Corliss. And you have one other witness, which is Zone 9, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any other preliminary matters?
None from the people.
The only thing from the defense is I request that adjournment be a short response. Nothing beyond that. Or continuation, sorry.
Thank you. And you can call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the first
You can
witness,
be
people,
seated.
people called to the stand, Officer James Volnine.
Solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give is the truth and the whole truth under penalty of perjury.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You can have a seat. State your first and last name and spell them both.
James Volnine, JAMES-VOLNAI.
Proceed, counsel.
Thank you. Officer Volnine, can you please state your occupation for the record?
Police officer in the city of Lansing,
And how long have you been employed by the city of Lansing?
about 4 years now.
Officer, I want to take you back to May 18th, 2021. Do you remember that date?
I do.
Were you working in your capacity as a police officer on that date?
I was.
Okay. And were you working for Lansing on that date?
I was.
Do you remember if you were working alone or with a partner?
I was working with a group.
And what group was that?
Lansing Violent Crime Initiative.
Okay. And what kind of vehicle were you in on that date?
I was in a marked patrol vehicle.
And what were you wearing?
And for units or individuals in that unit who wear street clothes with tag vests over them that display the words police on the front. We also wear uniforms. On this particular day, I don't recall if I was wearing a department uniform for the DT.
Okay. Either of those have something that identify you as police, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. On that date, were you present in the area of Riley and Lyons Avenue in the city of Lansing, county of Ingham?
it was.
Okay, and is there anything located at that address,
They're at the corner.
anywhere around there?
A Fleetwood Diners right there. Walter French across the street.
Okay. And is there anything that prompted you to go to that location?
Yes, we have those officers that were in the area who observed me and Alon driving a blue Saturn.
Note an objection for the record, but it's effectively to the hearsay of hearing that from other officers. I assume the response is going to be for effect on listener or his behavior, but I do want to place the objection and response on.
You want to place your response on the record?
That would have been my response.
Okay, objection overruled.
Are you familiar with Ms. Nalon yourself?
I am.
Okay. And as a result of hearing that, what did you do?
Well, the reason why is that she got suspended driving.
Okay,
Furthermore, more traffic violations were radioed over to us,
okay.
and we try to conduct traffic stop.
Did you say you tried to conduct a traffic stop?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, as part of what you were told by the officers, that include a vehicle description?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is that a vehicle that you know yourself to be attributable to Ms. Nalon?
Yes.
What kind of vehicle is that?
The blue Saturn, I believe the Aura.
And tell me what happened when you attempted that traffic stop.
I initiated my emergency lights and sirens as we went down Riley. Vehicle continued not yielding to me. And then after going on a southbound shot, I had to refresh my memory report in regards to the street name, increase their speed. Speeds are 25 miles per hour in that area. At that time, based on our policy, I terminated the pursuit.
And you indicated that you need to refresh your recollection with regards to the specific street.
The next one down, yes, forget the southbound street that you turned on.
Your Honor, may I approach with the report?
Yes.
Officers only without reading from the report, can you just look at that? Tell me when your memory or your recollection is refreshed.
I'm all set.
Thank you. And what was the street that you indicated?
It was southbound Lions.
And is that the area where you indicated that the speed limit was 25 miles an hour?
Correct.
And you indicated that you had to stop pursuing, is that correct?
Correct. It's a residential neighborhood back there.
You indicated that you do know this vehicle to be attributable to Ms. Nalon personally, correct?
Correct. I know she operates it.
And this is the vehicle that you saw driving on that street?
Correct.
Do you know the license plate to that vehicle?
It's, if I can refresh my memory, I can provide it to you. It's my report.
Okay. Your Honor, if I can approach again. And again, just let me know when your memory is refreshed.
It is refreshed.
What is that license plate?
Boyd Queen 41574, the Illinois registration.
Boy Queen 4154, is that correct?
I think it's at 4750.
Oh,
4754-4. I'd have to read it from the paper. It's a lot of numbers to remember.
can't have you read it from the paper, but you did indicate that BQ 41 and 54 are all in there, correct?
Yeah, I believe it's a 5-digit number after the boy clean.
Okay. And I apologize, somebody else could have got a fifth number, I did not. And you indicated that it was Illinois?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, at any time, did you see the driver of this vehicle?
I did not.
Okay.
So you did not?
No, ma'am.
Where were you positioned behind this vehicle when you saw it?
Behind it.
Directly behind it?
Yes.
Okay.
I was a ways back on Cedar for some time, and then when I initiated my traffic stop, I was behind it.
No cars in between?
Not by the traffic stop. No.
And from inside of your car, could you see if there were multiple people inside the vehicle?
I could.
Do you know approximately how many people you saw?
Possibly 3. There are items being thrown from the car during that time too,
Where were they being thrown?
from the passenger side.
Were they being thrown around the car or outside the car?
They're thrown from the car outside.
Do you know what those items were?
It ultimately being a bottle of liquor after we viewed our body cam or our in-car cameras.
So you cannot identify the driver of this vehicle, correct?
Nope.
Okay. I have no further questions at this time.
Open cross-examination.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Not quite yet.
Good morning, sir.
Feeling. And if I'm understanding correctly, you first came into contact with the suspect vehicle by the Fleetwood Diner, is that right?
I was behind it several vehicles up Cedar. And then when I got close in regards to getting behind the vehicle, directly behind it was at the intersection around Cedar driveway.
Did you directly observe any traffic infractions?
I think I may have saw her weave in and out of traffic, but I relied heavily on the other members of the team to provide the information.
So you say you may have seen that. Do you remember her doing that, or?
My in-car camera, see, for sure. I document my report.
Do you have an independent memory, or are you relying solely on your report to replace them?
I document any report of the events that happen, and that's what I rely on.
Do you have an independent memory from your own mind? What I'm hearing is a no.
What's that?
What I'm hearing is that you do not have an independent memory of this day.
Do I recall that day?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you remember the things that you are testifying to today, or are you simply repeating what was written in your report?
I remember them as well.
But you could not remember the license plate number, is that right?
I need my report to refresh my memory, but yes.
And we just watched you read the report, refresh your memory, and you still could not remember, is that right?
I could look at the report and try to memorize the numbers and repeat them to you. I could do that again. Yeah.
So you're memorizing from the report and trying to repeat it solely from what's in the report?
In regards to the license plate number?
Yes.
Yes.
And is this also true for the street names?
For southbound lines?
Yeah, where you observed where the traffic offense occurred, where the speed limit was 25 miles an hour.
I need a refresher to find out which reason was correct.
Did you remember them independently, or are you relying solely on your report for the street?
In regards to lines, I need to refresh my memory report.
And is the same true for as far as the speed limit on those streets?
No, I know when you 25.
And you indicated that it's a clear view of a liquor bottle being thrown out of the window on your in-car camera.
So after the review of it, I believe you saw it.
So you solely believe that based on it was not clear to you what was thrown.
So believe it to be.
At no point during this did you see who was driving the car.
I didn't know.
Did you choose independently to terminate the pursuit, or were you told to terminate?
I believe my lieutenant was on the radio. She was out with us. She advised that, I think she said it terminated as well.
She advised to terminate because it was against policy, isn't that right?
Correct. You can't chase someone through a neighborhood.
Do you recall anything about the three individuals you saw inside the car?
I don't.
Around what area did you see the item being thrown from the window?
There's train tracks down by south of Lyons. Probably 3 blocks or so south of Riley.
To the best of your knowledge, did you or any other officer go back and search that area for what was thrown?
Not to my knowledge.
One more. All right, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. Redirect.
No redirect, Your Honor.
Okay, I have a question. Just because I know that you say you were familiar with the vehicle, are you familiar with Ms. Nalon other than this incident?
There was a workup that Officer Forbes had talked about prior.
Okay, but have you ever had any personal
Physical
interaction?
contact, no.
No, let me finish the question. Have you ever had any contact yourself personally, other than what the officer advised you? Okay, so if you were to have seen her on that date in question, would you have even been able to identify her?
Based on a photo, driver's license photos, yes.
Okay, but not from personal
from
knowledge. Okay,
Personal.
thank you. Any redirect or cross based on that?
No.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, maybe excuse the opposite. Okay, so that's the only witness we have for today, is that correct?
Correct.
So we will continue this matter. You said Officer Forbes was gone just for the weekend.
I don't know how long he's gone, Your Honor, but I know he is on his way up to at least an area that's 2 hours away, which I believe is where he was yesterday.
Available next week. Next week. Yeah, we have one. We can do it the 25th at 9:30. 25th at 9:30. Any additional matters for the record?
Nothing further from the people.
For the defense, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Name, I will get you a copy of your date to return next week, and we'll see you next week.